Hi, welcome to the Old Geezer's Diary on Wednesday, the 4th of September 2019. I'm Chris, and I'm not going to go on about the state of British politics because I think we've probably heard enough about that to be going on with, because the idiots at Westminster are once again doing all kinds of stuff, and in reality, no doubt it will all work out in the end, but the amount of pain that we have to suffer on the way will doubtless increase. We'll talk about some of that later if you want to. But today I want to talk about a completely different situation, and it's one that specifically affects older people. One thing that gets to me is the number of press releases and survey results and stuff like that that I seem to see every day about the condition, if you like, of older people in the UK. A huge number of older people are literally in poverty. That's bloody awful. A large number of old people live in places that are really not appropriate for them to live. And a lot of people suffer from lack of care, and a lot of people suffer from lack of resources in their local community from things like councils, etc. And I think it's time, really, that we started to take a serious look at this and actually try and develop some way of making life better for those people and making sure that, let's face it, our last years are reasonably comfortable and not stressed and not distressed either. One of the things I'd like to see us do is actually build more places for old people to live. Now, I don't know whether you're aware, but Dot and I, we're not hard up. We're not well off, but we're certainly not very hard up. And about 10 or, I don't know, it's probably nearer 12 or 13 years ago, we moved from a bungalow with a huge garden to a 2-bedroom flat in a development intended for older people. It's not inexpensive. The overall costs of it are something like, including things like rates, etc., are probably something like around £4,000 a year to actually maintain it, and we own, or Dot owns, the leasehold. So there you have it. There's probably more costs than that. There are things like electricity bills, phone bills, all that kind of stuff. But having said that, what we have is a bit of a community. And one of the things that gets to me for most older people, many older people should I say, live outside, if you like, the community, because they don't have quite often very close family. They don't have people at all interested in looking out for their well-being in any way. And the thing about coming to a place like this, of some sort like this, is that you at least have normal, occasional, friendly contact with other people who are in a similar position to you. Now, going back a lot of years, I once lived very comfortably when I was in my 40s in what was called a bed-sitter flat, or I guess you'd call it a studio apartment these days, I guess. And it had a single big living room, a tiny kitchen, a small bathroom, and a walk-in wardrobe. And that's what I had. And I have to say, I was really comfortable, and I would be comfortable in that kind of home on my own any time. So what we're looking at really is, why don't we actually start to think about councils actually building places like that, building decent, modern, comfortable developments where older people can live in reasonable comfort with a reasonable level of, I'm not going to say care. What you need is 40 or 50 flats or apartments or bedroom bed-sitters or something in a decent sized development which people can rent for a decent amount of money and claim on their benefits, and where there is at least some backup. At least some backup, like for instance a house manager who can at least make sure everybody's still alive every morning, who could maybe work for the council and actually comment all the time on the issues that people face. So if someone wasn't getting meals, they could look into how they could make sure they were fed. If someone needed additional care from the council, they could maybe deal with that and encourage it to be provided. What I'm thinking about really is that many older people, I think, sit in their homes, whether it's a 3-bedroom house or whatever it is. Many older people sit in their homes and moulder away quietly. If they're lucky to have highly supportive families who live nearby, then they probably get reasonable care because they've got someone on their side. But many people don't have that. And if you had someone whose job was to kind of look after the people's interests, not look after them directly all the time, but actually to look after the residents' interests. 40 or 50 people living in a place like that could have a sensible lifestyle, a comfortable lifestyle, human contact, and someone who cared about them. What do you think about that? Do you think that sounds like a good idea? Do you think that's a route that we ought to be taking? At the moment, councils spend vast amounts of money on providing care in people's own homes. But that does mean that lots of people live very closed in, quiet little existences. They get a carer or 2 carers for an hour in the morning, a carer or 2 carers for an hour in the evening, and that is the sum of their human contact. And once a week on Sunday, someone comes round and gives them a cup of tea, a son or a daughter who cares enough to turn up. And in many cases, there aren't sons and daughters who care enough to turn up. So what do you think? Do you think that sounds like a sensible idea, that we should encourage councils, local authorities, care authorities to actually start providing the kind of homes that people need in their old age? I don't care about inheriting the houses. If people could pay for that out of the money that they get for their house, then maybe it would also encourage house prices to go down. I'm Chris. I sometimes say things that I think we may all be thinking sometimes. You can find me on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and of course on Instagram, mustn't forget that one. And you can find me kicking about all over the internet. All you have to do is search for Old Geezer's Diary and you will find me. I love to have your opinion. I love to know what you're thinking about what I'm saying. Please do get in touch. If you like what I say, click on the little subscribe button on YouTube. If you want to get notifications of when I say something new, click on the little bell beside it and you'll get notified. Get in touch with me. I'm Chris, this is the Old Geezer's Diary, and I will see you soon.